Hello and welcome back. Bad Raven here, and we decided to do a little different thing today in a different room. This is my son's arcade, as you can see. We have Andrew's Arcade. I put this up for him. I painted it and drew it and everything, and did it for his birthday a long time ago. No exact date or nothing, but he's got his arcade cabinets and stuff in here. But anyway, I decided to use this location to kind of shake it up a little bit. But what I was wanting to talk about today is how I really got to really love movies and love going to the movies at the theater. When I was younger, we're talking about back in the late 70s, when I was around 9 years old, is when, probably maybe a little bit before that, maybe 8. But also, it was when I was really young, and my older sister, Sharon, she lived closer to the movie theater than I did. See, I lived just outside of Barberville, and she lived in between Barberville and Corbin. And Corbin was the only place we had like a movie theater that you could go in and sit in and watch a movie. Now, we had the drive-in, which before that, I had gone to the drive-in in Knox County, the Knox County drive-in, and I watched a lot of movies there, don't get me wrong, which, made me like movies also. And I was kind of like the kid that had to go along with his sisters as a chaperone type deal, had to make sure that they were not getting into anything. So I got to go to a lot of movies because of that with my other sisters. But anyway, I love the drive-in experience too, don't get me wrong. I want to do a video on the drive-in exclusively. Because I have took my son to a drive-in. So, I will do a video on that later. So I'm not going to get into that part of the loving the movie part. But it all started more or less going, my sister Sharon would come, and she would get us, and we'd go to her where she lived, her and her husband Freddie. And we would... sometimes we'd spend the night with them. Sometimes we would. They were newly married, and they would come get us, and she'd take us to a place called the movie theater, and we watched a lot of good movies. She took us. Some of the big ones I can just rattle off on the top of my head is we saw Star Wars. Star Wars. At a 9-year-old kid didn't see Star Wars. She took me and my family, all of us, to see Star Wars. Then we had Jaws. Big movies like Jaws. And we watched the remake of King Kong. We watched Grease. I know I might sound weird that I liked Grease as a kid because I was raised around a bunch of girls, and they liked musicals and stuff, and I still like some musicals, not every musical, but I like Grease. And those big types of movies were like coming out, and we got to go see them. And it wasn't for her, my sister Sharon, that we would have never, we might have got to see them at the drive-in somewhere down the line, but we would have got to see them at a movie theater. She really turned me on to actually watch a movie at the movie theater. The experience of being there with the crowd, the experience of the big screen, the popcorn popping, the smells, everything that goes along with the movie theater, I got from her because she took us. So, I'm telling Sharon to her right now through the camera, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be the movie lover that I am today. And I appreciate you for that. And she just kept us, in the loop. That's like I always talk about how if she went to Florida and she moved to Florida, and that's how we got to go to Disney World. She had a lot of things that happened to us. If it wasn't for her, we would have never got to do. We probably went to Florida eventually, but she lived down close to Orlando at the time, and we would get to stay at her house, and that would there'd be the room and board right there. We didn't have to pay for having to stay anywhere, so that kept us able to go to the Walt Disney World. Now, try not to get off track here, but I'm just telling you, she made it possible for a lot of stuff that I enjoy doing now. It's because of her. And that, at that time in my life was like when you take a kid to see a movie like Star Wars, and it just opens up a whole array of different things you can think about, like space and science and all kinds of adventure and action and all these different types of stuff that just went through my head at that age. And of course, I got the little toys, I got the little action figures too, as I was, for Christmas and stuff like that. And I was totally blown away. And the movies became something that really, I looked forward to going to, because we didn't get to go a lot. Like I said, even though she took us, we didn't get to go every time we turned around. It was a special occasion. Big movies like that were coming out, and that's why we got to see them. And that was, what you call just a big thing that we got to do on certain occasions. You know what I'm saying? And because back then, I think right now through Barberville was a 2-lane road until you got almost into outskirts of Corbin. Then it became a 4-lane, like you see on the interstate type thing. And it took years before that, from Barville to the Pineville area, to hook together all the way to Millsboro, actual 4-lane. But so it took time to get there. I tell stories about how there was the first Kentucky Fried Chicken in Corbin, and she would, we'd go to her house and meet up with her. I always tell this story to my son, and we'd get pop bottles, and back then you could, take your old pop bottles in for money, and we would have tons of pop bottles, build up, and we would take them and we'd trade those in for money, and we'd go buy us the big chicken dinner, you know what I'm saying? And we'd eat it at her place because it was in between both homes, and way we wouldn't have to wait forever to get the chicken back home to eat. The smell would kill you. But I'm getting off on another tangents there. But the thing is that as a young kid, I got exposed to a lot of great movies starting off, and that really instilled in me the fun of going to the movies. One time I tell this story to my son also is the movie The Black Hole was coming out for Walt Disney World. And I wanted to see that movie because it was a science fiction movie. And I was a science fiction nut as a kid anyway because of Star Wars. And I wanted to see this movie bad. And I just hounded my mom constantly. Please, Mom, take me to this movie. Please, I want to go to this movie. I want to see this movie. I think I aggravated her probably to death. So she finally said, okay, we'll go. So we went ahead, and it was just me and her because, nobody else wanted to go see it but me. So she sat through the movie and everything. And the movie was just okay. But I still loved the experience of going to see it. I wish I hadn't, destroyed my mom's nerves in the process. But I learned that next time to kind of, not to aggravate her so bad, because she's a great mom. She tried to do everything she could to let me see what movies I wanted. I was a brat, I must admit. And I should have been more caring as to push her that far. But just little stories like that and stuff about going to see these movies on the big screen. I mean, you got to understand that was great. But this area, there was nothing to do in this area. There was no movie theaters besides the drive-in, and they got movies late. So, I mean, it was like, that was like the world to me. That was like getting to see out beyond where I lived, you know what I'm saying? And for that, I mean, I really, really made me love the movie theater experience, the movies that I saw, and made me cherish them that much more. And we did have, I have to take it back, we did have a Mitchell's Theater in Barberville. Like I said, time the movies got off in Corbin, they got done in Corbin, it'd be another month or two before they actually showed up at the Mitchell Theater. And it was just a single theater. See, Corbin had 2 screens. And they eventually went to 4 over the time. And I eventually ended up working at that same Corbin Theater when I was in college. When I went to Union College, the first few years, I actually worked down there. Or the last few years of my college, I actually worked down there as assistant manager. I didn't start out assistant, but I worked my way up. And that was like, everything coming full circle. And I want to do a video later on about the Corbin Cinema 4, because I got a lot of friends out there that I remember that I want to have shout outs to, maybe get back in contact with them, because we had blast. Because, I mean, a movie lover in a movie theater working there. I mean, I got some posters on the wall now where I worked in those days. I can't show you now because the camera's on the tripod, but I'll eventually make that video for you. because that would be a great video. Just just for anybody that just loves to find out what it's like to work in a movie theater. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video to show you how wonderful it was to be at an age when movies were so great that came out, and that it shaped my life the way it is now. It's why I love talking about movies. That's why I like to be a part of anything movie related. But I just wanted to say thank you to my sister too, Sharon. Her birthday's coming up. I haven't forgot about you. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be the movie lover I am today. So I want to say goodbye, and please like and share and subscribe. Whatever you can do to keep this channel rolling. We're trying to get ahead of steam going up. I'm learning as I'm going. I'm trying to do the best videos I can. I'm hoping to upgrade to better cameras and stuff in the future. But we appreciate everybody that's watched our videos, even though we're little and we're just starting out. And I appreciate Pizzell. Pizzell is a shout out to him. Me and Andrew met him a long back. He's a great, he's been in YouTube forever. And he's a great mentor. If I could use him as a mentor, it would be awesome. But I mean, he is a great person I emulate myself after, and I'm hoping that I can make him proud and everybody else. But I'd like to say thank you for watching, and goodbye.